And it's 1:30, so I'm going to formally say good afternoon. It's 1:30 p.m. and I'd like to open the COA board meeting for October 19th, 2020. This meeting is being held virtually through Zoom. The town of Littleton began conducting remote participation / Zoom meetings pursuant to Governor Baker's emergency order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law on March 19th, 2020. Since that time, unanticipated legal concerns relating to the open meeting law have been brought to our attention by the town clerk. Those concerns were supported by the Attorney General's office and confirmed by town council. One concern is that the chat function allows a parallel text conversation to a board's public meeting. Chat is essentially running commentary that is occurring, but it is not moderated or followed by the chair. All participants and listeners may not be aware of comments being made because some meeting participants join by phone and do not see these conversations. Another concern is conversations between residents within the chat room, which are not incorporated into the public record. In response to these concerns, the town will implement the following changes, which in no way prohibit any member of the public from participating in discussion and sharing information during a public meeting, and will ensure that all listeners and participants have equal access to this meeting. People that join the Zoom meeting are set so their microphones are muted. If you called in by phone, please use *6 to mute or unmute your phone. So that the meeting can occur in an orderly fashion, we ask that people who join keep their microphones on mute so background noises do not interfere with the meeting. If you wish to participate in the meeting, please use the raise your hand function available on Zoom, or if you called in by phone, dial *9, which will activate the raise your hand function. The meeting host will notify the chairperson of raised hands, and the chairperson will determine whether and when to allow public comment. When called upon, participants should unmute, then state their name and address. After speaking, we request the participant return their microphone back to mute. And just to let you know, this is a live and recorded meeting. So, welcome everybody. Looks like we finally got there. I see Wendy's picture and Ann Lee. Everybody, I think, is here. Great. And let's proceed with, as I open the meeting, I just have to make a comment, especially for our new board members. And those that have been around for a while, well, I think will support me, but this is a very extremely busy time. And in my history of being involved with the COA, we've never had so many meetings in such a short period of time as we've had in the last couple of months. And so it's really kind of amazing to, I see Maureen shaking her head and kind of smiling, but yeah, there's a lot going on, a lot to pay attention to, and a lot happening. So I think that's a good thing, even though it's requiring a lot of our time right now. So thank you all for being so generous and being reliable and being present. Having said that, we do have a quorum, and I just have to remind everybody that this is an open meeting and we have to adhere to all the open meeting laws. And with that, I'm going to move right into the announcements, and I think we must have a few. I'm thinking Ann Lee might have one about what's going on at First Baptist Church for just to get the word out to seniors in town and others that might be watching.
Yeah, the First Baptist Church, we've had our usual fall and spring ham and bean suppers, and this year we thought we weren't going to have it, but we're going to have it on the first Saturday of November and December. Drive through. You'll have to call into the church at 978-486-4660 by November 4th to let us know how many meals you'd like. There are flyers out. They're going to be on the website, the COA, EHS website.
What?
Karen, that's the vision well.
Jim?
Yeah.
Excuse me, Maureen, can you mute yourself?
Sorry.
Talking.
So that you'll be able to get the information. But we hope that you'll come, and we've lowered the price a little because we won't be able to offer as many wonderful salads as we usually have. That's coming up. And then
What is the price, Anley? Maybe you can let people know so they can be prepared. Did I hear $6 for seniors?
$6 for seniors, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
$7 for adults, $6 for seniors and children, and no more than $25 a family.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, go ahead. You had another announcement. I interrupted you.
Well, the other one is sort of up in the air, so
Okay.
we'll let it go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do board members have other announcements of general interest to the public?
I have an announcement.
Go ahead, Anita.
The grab and go for October is going to be this Wednesday, the 21st of October. And it's going to be from 1 to 2. And it's going to be outside of the multipurpose room on the patio. And Sue, Kathy, and I will be there to hand out your kit for October. I think we have like 15 people that we hope to see.
Great. That's great news. Thank you. Do we have other announcements?
Marge, it looks like Barbara has her hand raised. I don't know if it's on purpose or if you want me to.
All right. Well, Barbara,
Do you want me to wait?
Yeah.
do you have something you wanted to offer?
No, I was just trying to check in. I'm sorry. And I probably did something wrong, but I'm not ready until the Friends announcements.
Okay, fine.
I'll lower your hand. I just didn't want to do it if you had something to say. Hold on, let me.
Thank you, Nicole. All right. No other announcements? No. About when is Springdale? Do we know? Does anybody know when Springdale is ending their senior bag pickup program for this year? I haven't heard.
So I actually saw Jamie this afternoon, and she was mentioning the season typically ends the end of October, but it may extend
Oh, that's nice. That's encouraging.
into November.
Great. Thank you. I was wondering about that, and I think people would like to know because it does usually end around the end of October. So thank you very much, Ashley. Okay. No other announcements. Do we have anyone with us from the public for public comment? I know it, Dottie, it's not the Friends. I'm not referring to you because you're on our agenda. Dottie and Barbara, I think, were still with us. And maybe I need to, well, now I lost my whole thing. I turned my computer upside down and now everything's in a different place. But anyway, so.
It looks like the only other people that are here are from the Friends, Marge.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. All right. So our first actual agenda, our big item is to accept the minutes of the multiple meetings we have had. We have 3 sets of minutes to approve just since our last meeting, our regular scheduled meeting, which is very unusual for us. And not to mention there has been a subcommittee meeting, but that doesn't even figure into the mix here today. So, all right. I will, and we'll move on to accepting the minutes. And let's talk first about the minutes of September 14th, our last regular board meeting. You all received copies of the minutes. Do we have any corrections or changes that need to be made for the minutes of September 14th?
Maureen has her hand up.
Maureen, yes.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the minutes for the September 14th meeting.
Well, thank you kindly. Do I have a second?
Second.
Susan, thank you. Okay, we have to do a roll call, so we will start with that. Anita,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Patty, Mary,
Yes.
thank you. Mark,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Wendy. Wendy, are you there?
She's muted.
Yeah, unmute yourself, Wendy. Okay, you're good. Hi. Are you voting to accept the minutes?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Maureen, you're muted also. I think I read your lips, Maureen, to say yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Ann Lee?
Yes.
All right, and Marge is a yes. Thank you. Let's move on quickly. Well, this is good. The next date is September 28th, and that was a special meeting with the Select Board. Are there any corrections should be made to the, or omissions to those minutes?
Maureen has her hand up.
Again?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it, Maureen.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the September 28th minutes.
Thank you. A second?
I
I
second.
second.
Okay, I don't know who said what first.
Give
but
give it to Wendy.
Wendy seconded. All right. All right. Okay, we go again. Here we are. Anita,
Yes.
thank you. Susan,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Ann Lee,
Yes.
and Marge is a yes. Great. We're moving right ahead. Thank you all. All right. And the last one was just last week, so it should be pretty fresh in our minds. The date of that was the 13th of October, I believe. Do we have any corrections or omissions with that, with those minutes? I don't see anybody saying anything, hear anybody saying anything. You want to raise your hand again, Maureen?
Madam Chair, I wasn't at the meeting, but I will move that we accept the minutes of the October 13th meeting.
I thought you were present at that meeting. No?
I don't believe so.
Oh,
I
okay.
second it.
Thank you, Anita. All right. Is there any further discussion? I forgot to ask you, I guess, before, but on other minutes, but I'm counting on you to interrupt me if I ever skip over something. All right, we will take a voice, roll call vote. Anita,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Ann Lee,
Yes.
and Marge, yes. Well, that was quick and easy. Thank you. Moving on. We're the friends. Barbara and Dottie still with us, I hope. And you're muted. Are they there, Nicole?
Yes, I'm just moving them over.
Okay, thank you. Hi there, Gail. Barbara and Dottie, if you can unmute yourselves.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Great. Oh, and Nancy Levine just joined us. We have 3 members of the Friends here. Who would like to speak first?
I've been here all along. You couldn't hear me.
We couldn't see. I
Okay,
couldn't
am I
see you
unmuted
either.
now?
You're unmuted
This
too,
is
Barbara. Are you ready?
Hi.
You ready to speak?
Yep,
Oh, thank
I
you.
think I will. So hi, everybody. It's good to see your faces. And I just wanted to let you know that the Friends have been trying to work up some programs for the seniors so that, you know, going along with your programs also, we'll keep November 17th. We're going to have a grab and go lunch that will be made at El Forno's. And I want to tell you, my internet thing keeps saying we're unstable here. So if I disappear, that's why. Anyway, so it's going to be November 17th. It will be a Thanksgiving style lunch, and it's free from the friends, and you can call. I did ask Ashley, I believe that it's okay to call the COA office to register. And if they are registering and need to have their food delivered to their home, please say so when you call in. Leave your name and your phone number, and enjoy your meal from us. So that's what we are able to do at the moment, but we'll probably have more as time goes on. And I'm really excited about it. It's going to be a good meal. And thank you to Il Forno for doing this for us. And by the way, we can only take 75 people.
That's a pretty good number though, Barbara. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they would have done more, but we felt that maybe we should start with that number. So call. When, Ashley, do you have a particular time for them to begin?
I just want to first, start off by saying thank you. And thank you to the Friends for organizing the event for seniors in town. It's very generous of all of you, and it would be great if we could start signups on Monday, November 2nd, to ensure that everyone has received the newsletter and had a chance to read through it and see if that is an event of interest. I'm sure it's going to be quick to fill, but we want to make sure that people receive the news and give them a chance to register by calling the department's telephone number.
Which is?
Okay. 5402470.
You have it memorized. Thank you. Yes, which our main line is 978-540-2470.
Thank you both.
Well, thank you for that. And like I said, we'll all be moving on and trying to do some things that during this time, which is kind of hard, but things can be done.
Right. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Dottie and Nancy, do you have anything you wanted to add?
Oh, the lunch is just for the Littleton seniors.
Oh, the lunch
That's
is
right.
right. Just
Not for out of town at all. Just
local Littleton people.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
I would like to add that when people call in, that the person who's answering the phone and taking this information to ask where they live in Littleton, or are you a Littleton resident?
So you're wishing that when they call the office, they ask that question, Nancy?
Yes.
I'm sure Ashley got that.
Yes, and I believe that has been a past practice for the events that you've had here held at Town Hall in the multi-purpose room, the monthly luncheons. So, yep, we're happy to do that.
Thank you, Ashley.
Sure.
Wow, this is exciting. It's nice to have the event happening, Barbara and Dottie and Nancy. And you're right. It takes time to figure things out, but you know, where there's a will, there's a way, I guess we can say. But it's not easy, that's for sure. So we appreciate your work. All right. So I think, unless, and you know, feel free if you have other, you have an afterthought here to let us know and we can recognize you. So thank you very much. Okay, then, moving on to old business. You know, it has occurred, it occurred to me and to Ashley and to Mary when we were putting the agenda together that we really never finalized all of our goals for this year. I mean, we've taken steps towards working on, you know, the bigger issue, for example, the senior center, but we have not really worded and put into words our goals. So I think we need to spend a few minutes just finalizing that. Obviously, one of the biggest goals is somehow achieving progress, and I don't know how we want to define that, toward the senior center. I think this is going to be a remarkable, you know, few months ahead of us, because I think we're going to make big progress. I'm very optimistic about that. So I'm asking for suggestions about how you would like to word your goals for this year as a group. Regarding a senior center first, and the second big area that we are working on and we're paying attention to, of course, is the affordable housing issue. So I think Mary, maybe we could tackle the affordable housing issue. I think Mary put her head to work and came up with a suggested goal. So maybe we could tackle that first.
Well, I did give it some thought, looking back over the housing subcommittee. And my little pea brain works once in a while. And what I put down was to promote, explore, and improve housing for senior living. And I broke it down into how would that goal be accomplished? And number one, I said, identify what's currently available in Littleton. And the first thing I thought of is apartments. We have Shattuck Street, but there's only 48 units there and 12 family units. And then we have Littleton Green on King Street, and there's only 24 units there. And we have Pondside Apartments down on King Street, and there's 90 units there, but they're not all affordable. They're very limited for affordable. So that's a total of 162 units, and they're not all affordable. Now there is a apartment complex, Village Green, up on Boxwood Drive, but they don't take, it's not an affordable unit, although we take a few vouchers once in a while. Now, based on the number of seniors we have, that's not a lot of apartments. Number two, we have the Hager Homestead coming, which I can address a little later. That's a new co-housing project, a whole new concept, and that's in progress. So we'll follow that for the next year or two until it gets built. Number three, there have been initiatives to build housing, King Street, Cricket Lane, a couple of other ones. And based on the town bylaws, we end up getting maybe 2, maybe 3 houses out of each of those particular projects. So number 4, I'm thinking, and it's been mentioned before, explore 1, 2 things, building apartment complex and or condo units for Littleton. And to explore this option, we need to validate that. Do we want something like this in town? One, it would allow folks to stay in town. It allows for downsizing because there is no place to go in town if you want to downsize. It allows for less maintenance for seniors if you can downsize to an apartment or to a condo. And if if we were able to do something like this, it would have to meet the town's affordable units and have them available. But if you look at the number of citizens we have in town, we really don't have much to offer. So I think we need to look into exploring additional apartments and or condos. We're building single-family houses, but that's not what a lot of seniors want.
Or need, I think.
Or need.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, those of us or many seniors who have houses, when they get older, they don't want to bother with this. They want to rest on their laurels, as we say, and let somebody else do it. And I think it's time, and I think what we have to do, also I had written down that we need to have discussions with the planning board, the select board, and maybe it's time, you know, we did the report that we did number of 6 or 7 years ago.
Oh, the Donahue Institute.
That we could do a limited, very small survey to residents over a particular age with very specific questions dealing with the future's coming faster than you think, and ask, what are we looking for Littleton for housing, and get them back and assess what they're saying. That wouldn't be too complicated a process to do. So I've typed out just a 2-sided page that if we reactivated the housing subcommittee, we'd have folks on it because most of the folks on it have all retired from the board. But we could come up with something and then present it to the board and say, okay, this is what maybe we could consider a goal. And I put a time frame to do these things between now and next June, so that it would be an ongoing process. I have a few thoughts in my mind, if I hang around long enough, that what we could ask, but we need to get the boards involved and get them behind us as well. But that's what I was thinking for the housing. And it's really to promote and explore the next year and make it a very active group.
Okay.
Now, I could send this out to you all to look at if you would like. But then, Marge, we really need to reactivate the subcommittee. Bob Stetson was on it, Mary Catalano was on it, Mary Picard was on it. I'm the only one on it right now. Susan, we've been sort of coordinating on the homestead, so right. I would.
And we actually
want to join me.
Well, there are actually 3 of you that are involved in the housing issue. I guess that's the one way of saying it. And that the third person is Maureen, because Maureen is on the Affordable Housing Trust, and she hears a lot of things going on in the affordable housing, department, or so to speak, topic area.
Yeah.
Right. So Maureen, do you have anything to add to this as far as where we could go for the next year and putting it together reasonable goals?
I know that right now the Affordable Housing Trust is working on some land and some the Brown property on Tehadawon, and there's the Glavy property. There's the property on, God, why can't I think of where it is? It's down by the train station.
Oh, Durkee Farm.
Thank you so much. And there's some discussion about maybe having the ability to build 3 or 4 as Patty says, that is housing, not apartments or condos. But I know that that is being discussed. There is a gentleman who came to the Affordable Housing Trust meeting probably 6-8 months ago who is interested in building down by the train station. And that was going to be set up so that there would be apartments and there would be condos. I don't know how far that has gone in terms of his applying for the planning board with plans, or whether I've not heard anything about it being approved.
Okay. Thank you.
I know when I was interviewed by the consultant that the planning board had, maybe 2 years ago, and she interviewed a lot of people in town. Condos and apartments were mentioned to her back then. So it's not a new idea. It has been batted around for a while.
Right. And David, you've talked about that too, from your experience with your own mother.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. As a matter of fact, I just went to their website and they feature apartment buildings with really nice apartments. Okay, and it talks about affordable housing, and there's a bunch of question and answers on their website. Like, is there any limit on assets? And it says no. Okay, so that right there is a good thing. I think back when my mother first went there, there was a limit on how much you could have, but now I guess they've eliminated that. And I just thought it was the best thing for her. It's all apartment, it's no condos. You know, it's a nice. Well, I guess they have 1 and 2 bedrooms, but she had a nice kitchen and living room, dining room combination, and bed and bath, and it was all set up to be user-friendly, senior-friendly. Okay, there's no nurses on duty or anything like that, but they had alarms in the bathtubs and all that kind of stuff that you could, somebody would come if you called. So I thought it was really good, and I was just contemplating starting back up and trying to call those people, and was wondering how we would go about just getting the town and those people together. I mean, you'd have to get this guy to come down and buy property, or I don't know how all that would get started, but I'd really like to pursue it a little bit.
All right. See, lots happening. Yes, Ashley, you're muted.
I just wanted to jump in with one suggestion. Patty, very thoughtful response as it comes to the goal around affordable housing, but I wonder if we could use different words, because you had used senior living, and I think that implies assisted and independent living. I wonder if we could swap that out and say maybe aging in place or some other words. I think, or maybe I'm being too nitpicky, but when I hear senior living, I think of independent, assisted rehabilitation centers.
Oh, I mean, yeah, anything.
Just a comment.
No, but it's a good comment, I think, and words are so important. I think when we're talking about seniors, are needs of older folks as you age, and aging in place is a great phrase, I think, to make people feel more comfortable. So that's a good point.
Patty, can I ask you to repeat that goal?
Pardon me?
Could I ask you to repeat the goal?
To promote, explore, and improve housing for seniors. You could leave the living out altogether. It would be just to promote, explore, and improve housing for seniors.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments?
Seniors, by definition, could be 60 and plus, not
Right.
65.
Okay, other comments? Is anybody willing to take a stab at it? Do you want to make that one phrase that's not very measurable? But, you know, goals are supposed to be have some form of measurement, kind of, to be, so that when you're at the end of the year, you can say, yeah, we did do that. You can, under promoting and exploring, certainly list everything you've done to promote and explore, though, by the same token. So
It could be measurable if we were able to do, you know, we meet with the boards, if we were able to do a survey or even if it's just a postcard type return thing on a limited, with just limited questions dealing with that issue. You know, what we send out, the percentage we get back, the result of the questions. So it's measurable to that point.
Right. I think that the points that Patty made underneath that big goal definitely were measurable. I mean, she mentioned exploring what's available, and then another whole list of things, initiatives that could take place, and those are definitely measurable.
And how does the board feel about reactivating the housing subcommittee?
I think I'm not doing this all by myself, guys. Sorry.
Well, as I said, we almost have 3 members already, because, you know, Susan and Patty and Maureen really have been involved, and I know David has been, his heart has been there, let's say, you know, because he's talked about this since he very first joined the board, actually. So,
Well, I would be glad to help. You know, I would be glad to.
So that also could be one of the things that we could put down, that we were going to reactivate the housing subcommittee goal money, and we can do that. So now I'm going to ask who wants to be on that board. Obviously, I think Patty, David's willing. Patty, Susan. Patty, David, Susan, Maureen.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you be willing to also to be on the housing subcommittee, since you're already involved, and you can be a conveyor of information back and forth, actually?
I would be willing to help out. Yes.
Okay. So I think you all just have earned a position of distinction. So, I'll say it that way. Anyone else interested in joining that group? There's 4 board members that wish to, are offering their talents and time to work on the housing. Focus on that a little bit.
I'd help
more in
out.
depth. So,
I'd help out.
That's kind of a good number.
there's Wendy wants to help out too. So that's 5. Oops. Okay, 5. Yep. So if that would work out well, and if Wendy would like to join you and help out, I think that'd be great, Wendy. All right. So you have your group. We will, Ashley and I can put your beginning agenda together, and we can, you know, we can talk to you about a good time to have a first gathering and get organized. Does that sound good? You have the board, the subcommittee put together by the next, well, our next board meeting is going to be fairly quickly occurring after today, because we're meeting so late in October. But anyway, we can see what we can do as far as getting things organized before our next board meeting, which I believe is November 9th, something like that. So, okay. Back to then, are we done with talking about the housing issue? Any other comments? If not, can we go back to, and this ties right into actually the vision subcommittee that Mark is chair of. They have had their first meeting, and I'm going to, poor Mark, I didn't tell him I was going to do this to him. But I'm wondering if he could just, between everybody that was present, Ann Lee and Mark Anita, and Susan, right?
Yes.
Are on that subcommittee. And so between all of us, and Ashley was there, I was there at that meeting, maybe we can update the rest of the boards about that. And also, even if we don't come up with a specific goal for towards the senior center, maybe that group could do it at their next meeting, come up with some suggested goals for the entire board to support.
Marge,
To move forward. Yes.
I did send out the minutes to that meeting to everybody on the COA board.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, so telling everybody so that just people would know what is going on in the subcommittee also.
That's good. Thank you, Don. I saw that, Ann Lee, and I didn't really, I've had a crazy morning. I didn't get to read them. I have to be honest. So,
Yeah.
But that's great. So, and how, I mean, we can as a group try to make that decision now, or how do you wish to proceed as far as putting into words a goal that we can say is our official goal? Do you want the subcommittee to work on that and come back with a recommendation, or do you want to talk about it more today as a group? How do you feel about that?
What do you think, Mark?
I'm fine with either way. I'll give a quick synopsis of what we talked about and then people can.
Great.
So we talked about developing a mission statement and for what the exact subcommittee would do. We were talking about what the name of the building should be. Should it be like, is it a senior center? Is it a elder human services center? Is it a community center? So on and so forth. And that was actually one of the, I think that was kind of where we were leaning towards a goal would be what the, what kind of a building we would like and what we'd like to see in the building, right? So I think from my perspective, what I think we were deciding was that what we were hoping for is like by the end of the year, we would have a building plan in place for like how big of a building we needed and what services we would like in that building. And along those lines, not necessarily saying we want a building here and, you know, it should be this color and this many floors and things like that, but more like outlining what functionality and needed to be in the building and roughly what size was going to be required to accommodate that functionality. One of the next things we talked about doing was sending out a survey to people to ask how they use the senior center, what they would like to see in a new building, what a senior center means to them, what a community center means to them, questions like that. So at our next meeting, we are going to kind of more work on some of those survey questions and come up with a plan for asking what people want. So we could develop a kind of a building plan and a services plan. Along those lines, later down the line, we'll also probably have to come up with a staffing plan for how we would, you know, what would be required to staff a building like this. But that's much more towards May or next year.
Right.
So.
Thank you. Great synopsis. Thank you, Mark.
I just want to say one thing, Marge.
Yep.
I want to apologize to Amy and Nicole because I didn't include them on the email that I sent out to everybody on our minutes. So I will make sure I include you from now on.
Oh. I'm sure they'll accept your apology, Ann Lee. You know, this is just a beginning. We're just feeling our way with this. And Ann Lee was nice enough and kind enough to step up and be willing to take the minutes, because subcommittees have to have a secretary and we have to have minutes. So it's a lot of work. So yes, David.
Yeah, I was just listening to Mark running down everything that they talked about, and I was wondering, I'm remembering somewhere back a year or two ago, didn't we see some kind of a, maybe not a layout of a plan, but some kind of a list of the things that seniors would want to see in a senior center? Didn't we see something like that?
Yes,
So isn't it's written down somewhere, isn't it?
there is a beginning, yes, to that, and we can get that and give it to the subcommittee. Yep, you're
Yeah, I
right.
mean, that'd give them a way big head start.
Yep. Some things have been done along the way, but you know, they need to be reviewed again, and Ashley needs to make sure, you know, or see them and be aware of them too, because she has great ideas and thoughts. So
Okay.
thank you for bringing that up. You're right, though. I saw a lot of people nodding their heads when you said that.
We don't want to reinvent anything, but we want to, and it'd be nice to include everything that's already been done, but it'd be nice to kind of wrap up everything that's been done in put a nice bow on it to present to the selectmen in the town on what we need, so we can work on getting that, you know, next year.
Right, and I'm anticipating that we should have something that we could present at the Springtown meeting in this direction. I'm not sure
Yes.
exactly what that would be, and I think the select board would like to have something, you know, that if possible, if we can make, you know, work our way to that, I can see that happening this year. So, okay, we've covered a lot, and so we're going to summarize the goals. The vision committee subcommittee will be meeting again before our next board meeting. They have taken, just so the whole board knows, their regular meetings are going to be the first Monday of the month at 1:30. Then they chose that because they figured it was easy to remember. Monday, 1:30 on Monday is when we have our board meeting on the second Monday of the month. So that's going to be their regular meeting time. So they will be meeting again before we have our next board meeting. And I'm okay with moving on. I think we all have these goals in our mind. We just have to kind of, you know, make them a specific, and Mark has come up with some great ideas about putting the final wording together.
So I had a question that you have on the agenda. You have any additional goals? Does there need to be a goal around the tax write-off program? Tax
Well,
work-off program, to come up with a plan for how to review that, figure out what it should look like for next year? Or
Ashley, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I mean,
It's in the middle of
personally,
those.
I can jump into that update if you'd like, Marge. But I think at this point, it's kind of too late to be making that a goal for this year. Just to recap, because I know some folks were not in attendance last Tuesday evening when the Council on Aging met with the Select Board to discuss the Senior Tax Work-Off Program. So just highlighting a few facts for everyone so we're all on the same page. Last year, we had 121 participants complete the program. The program exists because of Massachusetts general law to reduce the financial insecurity seniors experience with housing. Currently, the program is open to any senior who owns a home that wishes to work and wants to work. This fiscal year, the town allocated 80 grand towards the program. So the program provides a sense of financial relief to the employees and provides a sense of civic engagement, purpose. As of today, everyone knows that the program is presently on hold based on the outcome of last Tuesday's meeting with the Select Board. I am planning to reconnect with department heads to see if there's any work that could be completed remotely. I do want to reassure everyone that I have heard from several departments and continue to hear from departments on available work. Just a matter of making a plan, and I plan to connect with Joe Layden on Wednesday to talk about the status of the program.
Okay, so that we have that listed to talk a little bit more in depth about it later on in our agenda, but the goals that we're writing are actually really, we were supposed to have these in place in July, in June, actually, before we ended, we broke and we don't meet in July. Then we started to work on them in August, and we've never really, there for the fiscal, for 2020, 2021, going to June of 21. So I don't know, Mark, when you were talking about having that as a goal, maybe next year, maybe you were thinking about whether we or not we revisit the parameters of the program and whether or not any of the eligibility requirements and all of that should be looked at. I don't know if that's what you were thinking about for later.
I was thinking about what the program should look like next year, not for this fiscal year. I was thinking what it should look like for fiscal year 2022, I guess, right?
I think you're right. I don't think we can even touch that right now. The issue right now before us is whether we get anything accomplished now. And then we need to maybe look next year at, should that be revisited? That whole issue before the program for 2021, 2022 gets implemented. That should be looked at. Yeah.
Right. Which is why it would be a goal for this year to figure out how you want it to look like for next year. That's what I was suggesting. If we don't want to do that, that's fine too. I was just suggesting, is that something we should be doing? It is what it is for this year, right?
Right. That's right.
Just what you want it to look like for next year. Should be talked about at some point.
Well, we can do that because, once we get past this whole issue about maybe getting the program up and running right now, we can look at that. And I think that's a great suggestion to make sure we do look at it. Patty, Mary.
Whatever my name is.
I know, I keep tongue twisting myself on that. It says Mary under your name.
That's a good idea because I took some time on the internet to look at a lot of towns on this tax write-off thing. And it varies from town to town for eligibility. And no, I don't think we should touch anything this year. But this program runs from what, June or July? What's the period?
It goes from July 1st through
to June
April
30th.
1st. June 30th, but your work needs to be done.
Okay, so it's the regular fiscal year. So if we don't look at it this year, which we shouldn't, and we're going to look at it next year, and we make it a goal for next year, we're not going to be able to make a goal for next year for July 1st next year if we don't look at it sometime in this year, in this year's goals, because this year's goals go through June 2021.
Correct.
So we would look at it in the spring.
Patty, I think you're right. I think this is a goal that we should have so that we
just wouldn't
know.
Look at it until the spring.
Right, because July 1 of 2021, we have to be ready to say, you can apply with these parameters.
Yes.
Which right now.
It would be a goal.
Right, because there are no parameters now except you have to be 60.
60 and you have to own your house and live in it.
Right.
And it could be that we end up leaving it that way, but it needs to be looked at. I think that's the point. So would anyone like to put those words into a statement about the goal? Right.
So I think we need to put it on as a goal, even though we may not address it until springtime.
Okay.
I would say the goal is to revisit the parameters of the tax work-off program.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. So we have a motion here to revisit the parameters of, or we have a recommendation, the tax work-off program. And okay. Thank you. I don't know that requires a vote. I think because our goals are all, you know, that we have, that's makes 3 goals. We're going to have a goal around the senior center, one about affordable housing, and the tax work-off program. Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
Okay. All right, good. So, and we have the wording of the actual wording for the tax write-off program. So, and I agree with you. We can't do it now, but we need to do it sometime later in the spring. Yes, Patty, Patty.
Did you all get the memo I sent on the Hager Homestead information?
Yes.
Yep.
Did you find it interesting?
Very.
Very interesting. It was good information that you managed to dig out. I don't know how you got that. Well, I do know how you
Well,
got it.
Yeah. I worked hard to get it.
I know.
It's it also tells you, at least from my perspective, that these units are expensive.
That's for sure.
This is 60% of AMI, up to 150%, and these were agreed by the planning department. These are a lot of money.
Yeah.
And, you know, it does fit the regulation of the bylaw, and you know, I understand that, but I wanted to get this out so that you could, you know, see
the dollars and cents, the actual dollars and cents.
Yeah, it was nice to see it in dollars and cents. Yes. And then to put in parentheses, this chart came from a bank that calculates for an individual who's applying, that whether or not they would know based on their income whether they would be able to afford to purchase, which I thought was very fascinating.
Maureen?
Sorry, Maureen. I just
No, that's okay, Mary. So one of the things that one of the members of the Affordable Housing Trust, who is on the planning board, brought up to us is that it comes to approximately $500, give or take, dollars per square foot.
Is that what it is?
And when you start looking at that kind of money, and that has nothing to do with what the maintenance portion will be. And we don't have an answer to that.
Yep.
These.
There was a percentage.
Yeah, this one would include it, I believe. The other chart, I didn't break it down by the unit. This is just.
I know that what Diane Loomis had said was that did not include the maintenance, the monthly maintenance fees, but that it would be proportional to the amount of money that people spent.
Right.
Did I get that right, Anita?
Yeah. I think you did, yes.
Okay. I did too. I remember her saying that too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can I jump in?
Certainly, Susan.
With one correction. I think
I'll send you an additional chart. I didn't have time to type it all out, so I'll send you a little more of a breakdown so you can have it. But it's I just found it fascinating. I thought you'd really love it. But I'll send you a website that you can print a breakdown further of this.
Oh, good.
Thanks. Okay, so yes, Susan.
Yeah, I put out the information about the Middlesex Senior Co-Housing Organization having their Zoom meeting. I think I goofed. I think I said it was Tuesday. This will be the second time I've goofed it. It's Monday, October 26th. And if you email their middlesex.senior.cohousing@gmail.com, they'll just automatically send you a Zoom invite. It's very easy. I attended their last one that they had like a month ago. They had 35 people from all over the country that were on that Zoom meeting. to get information. Some were just interested in finding out about co-housing in general, and some were interested in finding out about the one in Littleton in particular. So it's a mix. And they basically are just giving information and answering questions. And I agree, it's expensive. And they say so too. They admit they never planned it as an affordable housing situation.
Oh, if you listen at our planning board, the folks presenting it, they don't quite admit that, I don't think.
Well, okay. At the meeting, they sort of did. I mean, they were saying this is a concept, this is something, and it didn't, they were happy to be able to get the only way they were going to get planning board was to give in to more units, which was good, but it's not affordable in the minds of many. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And it's expensive in the minds of most.
But anyway, I'll send a breakdown of this, further breakdown for you. I wanted to at least give you something here.
Great. Thank you all. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable. Are you okay now with the goals? We all have that pretty firmly planted, and we will put them together on paper for the next meeting so that they're very concrete and you have a copy. Is that okay with everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Oops, Ashley, yes?
I just wanted to say one thing as it relates to the senior tax work-off program, and I think you had mentioned it, Marge, at the end. I don't want people to get nervous, whoever's watching this video at home, because like we said, the only guideline right now is that you're over 60 and you own your own home and you want to work, you're able to work. So maybe this group is more of exploratory and research based to find out what other towns and similar sizes are doing with their program presently, but not implementing any changes at the present moment, because I know people rely on that tax relief and hate to make any changes, especially now.
But that's so true. And I know, Ashley, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're feeling that nothing concrete will be happening until December this year. If we can, and we're still in the throes of trying to you're in the throes of trying to figure out exactly how we're going to do that. And we can talk more about that today. I haven't even looked at the time here, but we have some time. But I mean, there are, lots of suggestions out there. I think there are concerns, and I'm going to move us right into that topic. It is a separate agenda item, the property tax work-off program. So, and if any board members really want to share their thoughts or concerns or questions, feel free to do that, because I think it would be good for Ashley to hear them if you have the concerns or suggestions for her, because she's been putting a lot of effort and energy into trying to put this together so people can feel a little bit more comfortable about their tax situation this year. I think that's a good way to say it. And we're very sensitive to the fact that it is a important issue that needs to be figured out. So having said that, if you're okay with it, Ashley, I'd like to throw it open to the board. I mean, there have been thoughts about people are worried about senior safety. With COVID on the increase now, that's an issue. We've had people that have said we can, structure the, change the amount of hours worked depending upon all the data that Ashley collects. But she can't even come up with that now. She doesn't know and doesn't have all of her data in. Am I correct, Ashley, in saying that?
I think the select board last Tuesday evening had encouraged us to explore remote opportunities for folks to work at home, and since Tuesday that step hasn't been taken yet. that was an idea that was mentioned a few department head meetings ago. And, you know, people had suggested taking one job was identified as taking minutes from board meetings, which is a good opportunity for people to work at home. But I have yet not reconnected on that idea. So I think it's up to me to reconnect, to hear from other department heads what the remote work opportunities look like, and then reconnect with Joe on, you know, safety. If we were to bring people back into the building, where would these folks be placed? So those two steps need to be done. I don't feel like we should have another discussion unless someone really feels strongly about it at this point, and maybe we could just put this on the agenda for the November meeting, and by then I'll have a better idea.
Okay. Pat, okay, lots of hands here now. Anita hasn't talked at all, so I'm going to call her first.
I think, having worked in the town hall for as many years as I have, I think when you talk about remote work, you're going to find out in most cases that so much of even filing and organizing filing is confidential. There's, you know, and departments may not want to let that information leave the building, or it may not be able to be left to leave the building. I would think the better thing, which is too late for this year, is like around the voting. You know, you can get a lot of volunteers to work for voting, and people get hours that way. I don't see a lot other than taking minutes that you're going to find people willing to send work home to seniors.
I wonder if you can do some shifting of hours though, like if just to, you know, maybe the department is typically open from like 9 to 3, but a senior could come in from 7 to 9 or 3 to 5, right, and do the filing, right? And there could be a way of shifting someone else in the building, like an administrator or someone to be in the building to oversee that loosely, right? So you could like stagger shifts effectively, right?
That's a good idea.
Okay, Maureen?
Is there a specific number right now for people who have said that they are interested? You said last year there were 121.
So last week, Sue and we tag teamed the list along with Nicole and Amy. So really all hands on deck and reaching out to prior participants to hear from them if they're interested in re-upping again this year. And we've heard back from about 75-ish. It could be more. I haven't looked at the spreadsheet recently, expressing interest, saying that they would be interested once everything is up and running. So we do have people who are interested, who are willing and eager to start their hours. It's more of a matter of, for me to reconnect with Joe and finding out proper placement within the town hall, if we are able to bring in additional folks to work. And then secondly, if there are remote jobs available, finding out what those jobs are to assign folks as well.
Mary?
Yes, I watched the meeting with the selectmen, and most of us were there. And I got the strong opinion that they're quite concerned about safety and COVID, as am I. Littleton is in the red zone right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a serious matter. I would not want my seniors coming into the town hall to do anything right now.
I agree.
I wouldn't even be promoting it, I'm sorry to say. Over 65 is a high risk for seniors. I wouldn't be promoting it now. We have what, $80,000 available for seniors for doing this job. If this pandemic continues, particularly in Massachusetts, and we're on the upswing like a lot of states, and we remain in the red zone, I would have her try and promote ease to our seniors and say that they'll get some compensation out of the money we have available if they can't come to work. I would promote that. But I would not recommend they come into the town hall.
I would, listening to Patty, there had been a little bit of a discussion at one point a few weeks back about whether we could take that money and give everybody what they got last year, break it up that way and give everybody. But I thought that Ann Essman had made a comment that said that you couldn't get paid if you didn't work. So I would like to suggest that Ashley look into, is that definitely the way it has to be?
I agree with you. There's got to be an exemption when it's an extenuating circumstance like this.
Yeah, is there a way around that? If you don't work, you could still get what you got last year because of what we're in. I would like to recommend that be pursued either in the treasurer's office or the accountant's office or through Joe Layden to figure out that might be the easiest and best way to go. And then if we had any money left over, that maybe we could put that into the TRED fund, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that will have trouble with their taxes at that extent. And maybe we could do something that way too. But I think that should be explored more than simply a comment that said you have to work in order to get your money.
I mean, the money
I agree.
Yep. Mark?
not going to go anywhere.
I agree with everything that's been said, and my suggestion is we put an agenda item on for January to start figuring out what to do for the program next year. And if the program can't get up and running this year, we start seriously exploring how to give relief to people that couldn't get it because they couldn't work. At this point, I agree, no one should be in the town hall that can't be there, but that doesn't mean there aren't jobs available that they could do remotely, like taking minutes, or doing things like, perhaps we can talk to the school again about maybe people have skills and they can tutor the kids that can't go into the schools and things like that, right? So there are potential for people to work, but we should figure out, you know, I'd be hard pressed to believe that we're going to be able to spend the whole $80,000 this year. I just don't think there's going to be that amount of jobs, and we're going to have to figure out what to do with the remaining money and to help the people that couldn't get a job, right? But I think it's early to pursue that right now, because we can't promise anyone. We don't have the authority to do it. We'd have to petition the selectmen to do it. So let's figure out what the real issue is later on and petition the selectmen or the town to say, look, you know, we found all the jobs we could, and, you know, we could only, you know, of our 160, we could only employ 60, and we still have all this money left. What can we do to help them? And here are the suggestions we have, right? So I agree with everything that's said. I just think it's early to tell people that they're going to, first, we don't have the right to tell people they can get their money if they didn't work. We have to figure out what the program is. So let's figure out what the alternatives are when we know we need those alternatives. And I think January is the right time to visit that goal and figure out what the program looks like for next year and for the remainder of this year for what we couldn't do.
I think especially with the fact that COVID is on the rise, and, you know, we're dealing with that, and as Ashley said, it would be December anyway. So she's got certainly a lot more work to do to be able to gather the data that she needs to be able to come forward with some concrete recommendations, I think. So, but I just felt it was important that we have this discussion, because it is something that certainly is in the forefront of so many people's minds, and we want to make sure that people understand that we are struggling and trying to find our way, to find the best way. But we're not going to, hopefully, no one will be abandoned for sure, and people will receive some sort of help. We can offer that thought, I think, with the conscience that, wouldn't you say, Ashley, that at least we're struggling?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to mention to the wider community that the program hasn't been abandoned, and we're not forgetting about it for this year because of COVID. We just have extra steps that we need to take to ensure the safety of everyone, especially as the numbers change. We don't know what they're going to look like a week from now, a month from now, 3 months from now. So it's a matter of figuring out a plan, and then if that plan needs to be revised, what does that look like? And Mark, what you had suggested makes a lot of sense. We make suggestions to the select board once we have the program up and running, once we have a better handle of how many people we're able to accommodate, and go forth from there. And I just hope everyone's understanding about the situation that we're in presently.
Right. And we're not abandoning anybody, and we're not abandoning the whole work on this program. So I just want to reassure that anybody that's watching that we're all together on this, and we feel the struggles and the concerns that everybody has. So. Okay.
Can I make?
Yes.
If we're signing people up for this program over the course of the year, can we start asking, like means questions when they sign up? Are they signing up because they need the program to help pay their taxes, or they're just taking advantage? If we're going to say that we're going to potentially revisit next year looking at means testing it, should we ask people now about their means? Are they doing it because they want something to do, because they can't afford it, their property taxes otherwise? Figure out the right wording for the question to figure out why people are taking advantage of the program now, so that if we go to change it in the future, we're not hurting the people that we are serving now.
Right. You're suggesting that we try to gain some insight as to what's motivating people to participate in the program. Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
If we're opening it up this year, let's start asking the questions so that we don't hurt those people next year.
Good idea. Good thought. Okay. Any other thoughts about the tax work-off program? Property tax work-off program. It's an ongoing concern and issue, and I know Ashley's been putting a lot of energy. Oh, everybody in the office has. All of them have been putting a lot of energy into this. So, and it's just going to take more time to sort everything out.
Is something similar going on with the Veterans Work-Off program too? I mean, because that seems like it's happening concurrently outside of this.
I'm not sure what's happening with it right now.
So I spoke with John a few weeks ago, and at that time, their program wasn't up and running, and he asked, once we have our program up and running, to be in connection to him and to let him know what steps we were taking. I also know the volume of folks enrolled in the Veterans Work-Off program isn't as large as ours, so there could have been changes from the last time I spoke with him to present day. I do think it's tricky though, Mark, asking folks about need when enrolling. So we'll have to craft some sort of language because everyone views needs differently.
Yeah, you could just ask them why they're interested in the program.
Yes, Anita.
This brings up another comment that Sue and I are working on for our next TV show. The assessor's office has elderly, surviving spouse, veteran exemptions. And I know a couple of years ago, the assessors had a group of seniors that they talked about trying to get people more involved in those programs. I was going to bring the programs to our TV show, explain the criteria that you need to apply, and see if maybe we can help some seniors or more seniors than they are already helping through those different programs. So I was going to put that on our TV show this month and then see if maybe we could even hold a Zoom meeting with seniors if we had enough seniors that were interested, and give them a better breakdown. And since I was in the assessor's office, I would work with any senior to help them fill out the applications.
Okay, thank you. All right. I'm committed to trying to keep this a reasonable time, this meeting of a reasonable time limit. So if we have no other really important comments.
I
Yes.
just have one quick one. If you're asking people that are participating in the program and you're getting the no's, you should ask them also why they're not. Are they not coming back because of fear of the COVID or?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, so we've already started to obtain that information. It's really a mixed bag with the no's at this point. Some due to COVID, some moved out of town, and sadly, a few had passed away.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. We've kind of covered the update from the Vision Subcommittee. Do we all agree on that?
Yeah.
I think everybody knows about that. And we've covered an update from the Affordable Housing Trust,
Yeah.
which has been kind of incorporated into our discussion about the housing goals and establishing the subcommittee there. And in order to try to keep us at a reasonable time frame, I'm going to suggest that we move on, if it's okay with all of you, to the director's report, and after that, the outreach coordinator's report. So Ashley, and I know I sent out to the board Ashley's report. I hope you've all taken a look at it. She's one busy girl, that's for sure.
I think we all are.
Well, that's true, but
Every single one of us here on the Zoom call.
I know, the numbers are staggering still, so.
Yeah, so I just wanted to take an opportunity just to educate the wider community in terms of what we have been doing, because I think people may wonder what we do day to day, because we presently do not have any programs happening within the building. So the department has operated differently since the pandemic, but we continue to meet the need by providing assistance with errands, transportation, food resources, technology assistance, information and referral, rental assistance, support services and programs for social health and wellness. From the start of this fiscal year, July 1st, outreach provided assistance to 266 individuals with 1,518 contacts from July 1st to October 16th. As Council on Aging board members and those watching today, you are the eyes and the ears of the community. So if you see or know of any individual that may need assistance, please direct the individual to the Elder and Human Services Department. We are here to offer support, provide resources, and to engage the community during a very isolating and lonely time. We are working to expand our program and services, and we are looking for input from Littleton residents. As a staff, we have developed a quick questionnaire, which is already available on the department's website, and it is also included in the November broadcaster. Several responses have already been collected, and if you haven't had a chance to complete the questionnaire, please do so. The deadline is November 20th. Some upcoming programs that I wanted to mention: Karen and Notwitz is presenting on October 30th at 10:30 a.m. on a virtual platform through Zoom. Her presentation titled Bewitched Styles During the Time of the Salem Witch Trials. And later on that day, Bridges is sponsoring a free drive-through luncheon, free meat, lasagna, and salad, which will be staged at the library. We've had, I think, about 10 people sign up so far. That program did miss the October newsletter, so if it's of interest of you, please let us know. Yesterday at town meeting, Sue Raymond's administrative assistant was approved for the increase of 4.5 additional hours. As many of you know, Sue provides front office coverage, and she is the glue that glued to the organization. Her work is incredibly valuable to our organization, and her time is precious. As we expand during COVID-19, there will be new practices that we need to implement and additional administrative work for Sue. And I wanted to see if the board would consider electing a secretary so Sue can focus more on the organization than completing the board meeting minutes.
Okay.
Any volunteers?
Yes, step right up, everyone. We need a secretary. We have always had a secretary. Let me give a little history for new people. We've on the board, if you look in your manual, there is a job description for a secretary because we always have had one. And then we had great difficulties when our last secretary stepped down because he was having difficulty hearing the conversations to be able to write the minutes. And that's when Sue was brought into the picture. But even I know that Ashley has shared with me a recent administrative request that they have got to fulfill, if I'm not mistaken, Ashley, about getting waivers.
Yeah, so I'm happy to jump in.
Share that with the board because they need to, the public needs to hear this as well as the board needs to understand this is a huge demand that has been put on the staff in EHS, in my opinion. So let her explain it.
Sure. So in the November newsletter on the front, you'll notice that for all of the programs included in the newsletter that are held outdoors or off-site, including the lunch grab and go that the Friends have sponsored and organized, we are requiring a participant to sign a waiver. So it's a participant waiver that the individuals would need to complete. I'm still working on the mechanics in terms of dissemination of the waiver, but it's up to us to keep track and make sure every participant that has signed up has a completed waiver on file. And in addition to that, for the photography class, for example, that's happening off-site, I have an outdoor meet and greet. Participants will have to also complete a health screening questionnaire in addition to the waiver. So it's more administrative task, and Sue is already doing so much, and we're thrilled that the town meeting had passed the additional 4.5 hours a week, but her job is really needed here, and I hate to take her away from completing the board meeting minutes, but I think we really could use her time devoted to the organization.
Okay, having said that, who's willing to volunteer? Even if we have to set it up on a rotational type of thing, I don't know. Suggestions. I'm open to suggestions. I know Ann Lee's already doing minutes for the vision subcommittee. So, but we need to have somebody do the minutes. And they don't have to be as long and not long, that's the word, wrong word. I think they don't have to be as involved and as specific as Sue has gotten with them. You know, you could summarize things. I don't know what the laws say about the minutes, but to me, they could be a little bit, you know, condensed, I'm thinking. So what say you?
Could we offer that as a job?
We don't have any money. COA doesn't have any money.
Volunteer work.
A volunteer job, that, yeah,
Part of the program.
right.
The
You know?
library had one.
If we could find, I would say that would be a great volunteer job for somebody to do. Just gotta meet, you know, find the right person to take minutes and watch. Well, they have to watch the Zoom meeting, you know, and write the minutes from the meeting.
Hey, actually, legally, I don't think you can watch the meeting and produce the minutes. You actually have to participate. You have to watch it live. You can't watch it recorded. Sorry.
Oh, right. Right. I did understand that. I do understand that. I think Sue always watched it. Correct.
I would volunteer, except I can't actually, I've tried this before and I'm not good at participating in the meeting and taking notes at the same time. So if you want me to be quiet in all the meetings, I could be secretary, but I couldn't do both.
Well, I have that problem myself. I cannot run the meeting and take the minutes, even though I've offered and I've done minutes before. I just can't do it.
No, I have
Maureen?
Bob's problem. I can't hear well enough to get it right. So
I know, and I understand that, and Maureen, yes.
I currently take notes every single meeting. I might need some assistance from somebody else in terms of maybe developing a template or, you know, something so that we would be able to just put in. I know that Bob used to have basically the minutes written, and then he would put in dates and times and what was going on.
Right. So I don't think there's any, I think we can develop, as you said, a better, maybe a system. That's what you're talking about, really.
Right.
Yeah, which makes it easier. So I'd be happy to work with you. I'm sure Ashley might have ideas. She's got great ideas about everything. It seems to me anyway. So
I think I have too many ideas. I need to rein them in a little.
I will attempt to do them.
Thank you.
Yeah, that would be a huge, very, very big help, Maureen. We really appreciate it. Like I said, there's going to be some new procedures that we'll have to put in place here, and any time that we can have for Sue is much appreciated. I know Nicole and Amy can speak to the volume of work that she accomplishes week to week. It's truly amazing all that she does, and kudos to everyone on our team too.
I'm willing to help Maureen turn notes into minutes. Yeah, so I can help do that too, but I can't take notes.
Great. Okay. Well, we've got help here. Mary, Patty, yes.
I would make a suggestion to Maureen. I can't help you because I'm really deaf. The notes don't have to be word for word, or the minutes don't have to be word for word. All you need to do is, at least from my personal opinion, is if you have a topic, you just need to make a few notes. You don't need to identify everybody by name who said what. You just need to highlight what the topic was and a few dot points. It doesn't need to be in-depth notes. It never has.
Maureen, Maureen.
Yes.
I've taken notes for years, minutes for years, and I'm currently doing them for the personnel board, or I would have stepped up to do this. So I would be willing to sit with you or on Zoom and give you a real short, easy way of doing it.
Perfect. Anybody who's got some assistance, I will gladly take it.
All
And
right.
I got a template sort of like,
I
okay,
like templates.
Yeah.
sort of like, it's mine, but it's sort of like,
All
but
right.
I'll help you with that.
Oh my gosh, look at all this help we've got. Thank you all. I have one quick question for Ashley before we move on to the outreach coordinators report, and then we can maybe almost end our meeting. So, but my question to you is about those waivers. Is it every time somebody goes to the luncheon and then goes to the grab and, pick up the craft kits and then something else, each time, it's each event you have to have a waiver signed?
Like I said, I'm working out the details. I believe it's event specific.
Wow.
So do
I believe it is. Please do not quote me on this.
All right, we got it. I got it. I just was curious myself because I'm thinking, wow, that's a lot of work. It's just going to be a lot of work.
So Ashley, will I need to have somebody sign for my grab and go on Wednesday?
Let's talk offline about this. I'll give you a phone call afterwards and we can touch base.
Okay, and while, I don't think this is maybe the appropriate time, but before I forget, I wanted to recognize Kathy Coughlin for doing the yard sale. And I know she donated the money, brought the money in. And I think that needs to be recognized at the Board of Selectmen, just like the other two were done. She did a lot of work in 48 hours. And she really needs to be recognized for stepping up and being able to make the wishes of one senior who has worked for the COA for so long, make her wishes come true. And I've spoken to Joyce and she was flabbergasted at the amount of money that was raised on that yard sale. And so I really think that she needs to be recognized for what she did. I just want to get that in before I forget.
I agree.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, she did. She really stepped right up and had it all done and before you could hardly.
And I think Marge did bring it up at the select board meeting.
Yes, she did.
Yep. I remember hearing it at the select
And
board.
there will be a formal gift acceptance for that donation because it exceeds a certain amount.
Oh,
And
good. Okay.
That's true.
Thank you.
And
it's not on the agenda for this evening, but I'll let you know when it is, probably the next meeting.
Okay.
I'll keep you informed, okay, Anita?
Thank you.
Yes, I brought it up only because Cindy Napoli had referred to it and saying it was run by the COA and the COA did not run it. So that was why I mentioned it, to kind of clarify that point. Okay, can we go on to the outreach directors coordinators report?
Please.
Yeah, I know. Okay, Amy.
Yes, so I'm going to be taking this on. So I might not do it exactly like Nicole, so I apologize in advance.
No, you just have to give us a little bit of, heads up about data really and what you're doing. That's all.
Yep. So our vans continue to run on Wednesdays and Fridays. The van was also operating during the flu clinic this past week. So the word is getting out that it's back up and running. No contact pantry deliveries are provided on Fridays. We provided pantry deliveries to 17 households in the month of September. We continue to accept LRAP applications as well as emergency rental assistance applications. We have 2 residents that are currently enrolled in the ERAP program, and we have 7 in the LRAP program with 2 pending approval. We're still assisting with fuel assistance applications. The fuel assistance season goes until April 30th, so we have until April 30th to submit. Anybody that is interested in receiving fuel assistance, people just need to contact me in order to apply. The support groups are continuing to run virtually. Details regarding those programs are in our broadcaster each month. I also wanted to add in a little note that it is open enrollment with Medicare. You have from October 15th to December 7th to make any changes. And if you want to meet with our Shine counselor, you can contact the office to schedule an appointment with Kathy.
Great.
That's what I got.
Thank you. Any questions for Amy?
Well done.
Thank you very much. Yes, we appreciate all the work you and Nicole do. And Nicole, if we don't see you next month, you'll be in our thoughts.
I hope to not see you next month.
Oh.
I mean that in the kindest way.
I know you do, and I'm sure the very end of your journey is always the hardest part. Time goes slowly. So, anyway, can I have a motion to accept the director's report and the outreach coordinator's report, please?
So moved.
Maureen, again. Yes, and a second by?
I second.
Thank you, Wendy.
I'm
All right.
sorry to interject here, but I think Patty had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
No, go ahead, Patty.
No, fine.
Really? No, it's fine.
No,
We
that's fine.
Okay. I'm going to take a roll call vote on the motion to accept the director and outreach coordinator's report. Susan?
Yes.
Thank you. Mary?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Wendy?
Yes.
Thank you. Maureen?
Yes.
Anita?
Yes.
And Marge is a yes. So thank you very much. And Patty?
Did
Patty?
it-
I'm sorry, do you want to reconsider now and tell us what you want? No? Okay, all right. Last chance. So I think we can entertain a motion if there's no other business to come before the board today.
So moved.
Maureen?
Second.
And David got the second in, all right. So Susan?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Wendy?
Yes.
Maureen?
Yes.
And Anita?
Yes.
And Marge is a yes also. So it's a unanimous vote. I want to thank you all and really